Yesterday, the Alabama High School Athletic Association announced that they will move forward with fall sports. It was discussed at a meeting last night in Montgomery, and our Kayla Carlisle, brings us the latest.
Yesterday afternoon, the Alabama High School Athletic Association reaffirmed plans to start fall sports on time this year. Those teams will have the option to begin fall workouts beginning July 27th, and the first week will be used as an acclimation period, meaning it can be used for tryouts or for football another week of no pads. Otherwise, practice will begin August 3rd. Right now, first games are scheduled for the week of August 21st. Band and cheer are still allowed to perform, and fans will be allowed to be in attendance.
These best practices are provided to mitigate the exposure of COVID-19. And it was a priority of our board, but please know, these best practices will not eliminate the risk, only mitigate them.
The AHSAA Executive Director Steve Savary said today that each school district will be in charge of deciding how many fans can participate each game. Now, we'll have more information from today's press conference, and we'll even hear from coaches tonight in sports. Putting the Valley first in Huntsville, I'm Kayla Carlisle, WZDX News.